As a veteran for anime conventions for the past 14 years, and as a highly seasoned cosplaying photographer, I do not recommend you going to Anime New York. Anime, I do not recommend going to Anime NYC this year because they're not only imposing a mask mandate, regardless of vaccination status, you'll be required to show you proof of vaccination status. And this is because of the after effects of the great lockdowns of 2020 imposed by former Governor Cuomo, who has resigned in disgrace this year. Unfortunately, instead of going back to normal, the New York mayor is still imposing COVID with quarantine restrictions. And the worst thing is that you're required to show proof of vaccination where you go. And not to mention, there are a good number of businesses that are still imposing mask mandates, regardless of status. I mean, why would you go to a city that has literally destroyed itself? That's literally destroyed itself with quarantine and fear propaganda. I mean, why would any visitor go to New York City in this day and age when there are plenty of places you can go to? Florida, Texas, even South Dakota. Most of the Midwest and the South have gone back to normal except for major cities. But anime conventions such as Anime New York, such as Anime NYC, they have no real intention of going back to normal despite the fact that we have widely available vaccines. I've attended Anime NYC in 2019. That was my first Anime NYC, along with my first New York Comic Con on the previous month of October. And I made videos, actually documented the place. I already made a documentary for New York Comic Con. Now I've yet to produce a documentary for Anime NYC. But of course, Anime NYC was cancelled along with almost every anime convention due to the great lockdowns. And almost all of them had these BS virtual cons. They just glorified live streams that no one was interested in. Now, I will not attend any convention that has imposed a mask mandate for whatever reason. Because of the fact that there's simply no fun, they're sterile, and they're boring. There are many reports of anime conventions being shells of themselves because of the vaccine mandate and the mask mandates that they self-imposed, even in places where there's no need for these mandates anymore. And besides, Anime NYC is going to be a lot different with these vaccine mandates and mask mandates and the going overboard of hygiene fear. You come to an anime convention to escape, not to be constantly reminded of a lockdown that's imposed for 18 months. It's terrible. And the worst thing is that why would anyone go to New York City in this day and age? You got plenty of places that have been closed forever. You got businesses and streets that used to be lively, but they're shells of themselves. Little shells of themselves. And you got a rising crime rate and other rising problems that the city government and city council has refused to address. Why would anyone spend their time and money in a place where they hate you? You just want to have no vacation, but by the way they act, they hate you. They hate you because your politics, or the fact that you always want to live life as normal, and they're angry because you're not as hysterical as them. I've been visiting New York City since 2015, and I visit there every year except for 2018 and 2020. And 2021 is going to be the third year I skipped going, because the city has been changed substantially. And no one wants to admit, out, with the exception of people outside of corporate media, New York City, as you know it, is dead. And these conventions, New York Comic Con and Anime NYC, are the biggest sign of that. Even the New York Auto Show actually canceled in protest of the vaccine mandate. They don't want to admit the truth, because if they did, the Cronenbergs will literally cancel them and scream on Twitter for being a Trump supporter. Most of the people who want to go back to normal are not Trump supporters or care about politics. They want normalcy. And the worst thing is that they just choose not to go. I refuse to attend any convention that has imposed a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. That's the reason why I skipped OCon, AwesomeCon, BloodCon, even the inaugural Station Unity. And I'm going to be skipping CapsCon and MagFest as well in 2022. Because it's abundantly clear that they will not stop virtue signaling. They don't want to go back to normal. They're doing this intentionally to virtue signal. Not because of liability, because there have been cases where people have somehow contracted Corona-chan, and there's no lawsuits whatsoever. What we're seeing is basically the death of anime conventions. I mean, seriously, going to Anime NYC, or where we have vendors bailing out of anime of New York Comic Con. DC Marvel are not going to New York Comic Con. How many vendors that have already bailed out of Anime NYC? And the photo shoots are not going to be any fun. You'll still be required to wear a mask at all times, except for eating and drinking. That's no fun. I mean, I've been to Anime NYC, and it's such a lively place. Even when the exhibit hall is closed, people still milling around, hanging about. I mean, it's terrible that in 2021, they're not willing to go back to normal. They're not willing to go back to normal. They're not going to push back. I'd rather spend my time and money going to a convention in a place where things have effectively gone back to normal. Seriously, this bullshit needs to stop. And I am very considering retiring from the anime convention scene, since the convention runners don't want to operate as normal, or close to normal as possible. Seriously, I would attend OCon if they removed the mask mandate. I would have forgiven them for cutting a few programs here and there. But seriously, I would have attended if they just removed the mask mandate. I would have attended Anime NYC if they removed the mask mandate. I would compromise on the vaccine passport if they abolish the mask mandate. But no, they need a virtue signal, and people are sick of the virtue signaling. People have been vaccinated or already have Corona-chan and recovered, and they want normalcy. I'd rather travel to a convention that rather insists on going back to normal by any means legally necessary. This is Jay Gibb from the Ministry of Otaku signing out. Have a good day or evening, and seriously, live your life. If you've already been vaccinated or have Corona-chan and have recovered, live your life. Time moves in a flat circle. Time is a flat circle. Live your life, because you don't have a second one.